people, and welcome to Messages from the Heart, where we can take some time out from the constant external noise and just take a moment to focus inward and listen to the quiet and ever-present voice of our heart. So the message for today is letting go, and my take on that, what that actually means for me and how I see that playing out in our current shifting and changing times, and why I believe it's important to go deep with that. So we hear that a lot these days, like let it go, let go of the past, just let it go, move on to the new, all of that kind of talk. And not only are we hearing it, but I believe that we are actually feeling it in our lives. I certainly am. I'm finding that on a daily basis, things come up into my awareness from the past, which I thought that were long gone, long dealt with, and I had worked on in the past and thought they were done, but there is still some remnant of that. And if things come up into our awareness, things that were in the past that we thought that we had dealt with, we thought that we had finished with, things that were challenging to us, things that perhaps were hurtful for us, difficult situations, traumas, dramas that we went through, all of that kind of stuff that we thought we had dealt with, and then we find memories of that coming up. So this is what's happening to me anyway, and I believe it's happening for a lot of us, and certainly I think it's happening globally as well, like as a global collective. We are being called upon to assess where we're at and to have a look at what do we want to take with us into this new time, because it's definitely a new time, whether we believe that or not. It is definitely new on practically every level, individually and collectively. So when I asked myself the question, what does it mean to let go? Letting go, what does this process actually mean? And what I received was that really we are constantly letting go every day, whether we are aware of it or not. And there's various ways to look at things and various depths of awareness to look at things. So one way of looking at things is that things are constantly changing, both within us, within our own mind and our own heart, and outside of us in the external world. They're constantly changing moment to moment. Now it could be, and we are letting things go moment to moment without realizing it. So for example, we could be feeling not good about something in a given instant, and then 5 minutes later we've forgotten about that and we feel better. We become involved in doing something else, and we no longer feel angry, depressed, resentful, whatever the feeling was. So 5 minutes ago we weren't feeling great. 5 minutes later we feel great. Something else has happened and we feel great. So why, if we feel great in this present moment, why would we hang on to the feeling of not feeling great 5 minutes ago? So without realizing it, we let go of this stuff. Okay, I felt like that, now I feel good. We can, though, bring our attention back to 5 minutes ago and keep focusing on that. But for me anyway, I think it's a good way of looking at things. We're constantly changing moment to moment. We're constantly letting go of things that do not serve us moment to moment. And when we do this with awareness, so for example, if we are having things coming up in our day-to-day about situations we thought we had dealt with, situations that had caused us pain or discomfort or something in the past, and we thought that we had dealt with them, I think things like this are just calling for us to take another look and to let go of the remnants. And there are ways that we can do this. It doesn't have to be a difficult process. It doesn't have to be a long drawn out process. Like in the past, I think this sort of thing was more of a long drawn out process and more difficult. But because there are different energies on the planet now, we've got different energies in support of us moving forward into this newness. Anything that we want to change like that, and that no longer serves us can be done quite quickly. So one way that I speak about this a lot, and this is what I do a lot, is, okay, I don't ignore the feeling. I think, okay, thought I had dealt with that, but obviously not. It's come up into my awareness again. And you might find a bit of the old feeling coming back with the thought. It might not be as intense as it used to be, but there's still a little bit of that old feeling. So this is a cue for us. Okay, this is still part of old stuff that doesn't serve you. You don't need to take this into the new. So let's just take a look at it, and let's just let it go. So what I do, again, as I said, I don't ignore it. I acknowledge the thought, I acknowledge the feeling, I notice where I feel it in my body, and then it can be as quickly as taking a deep breath. And as you breathe, just imagine that as an energy. It can be like a grey energy or whatever colour comes to you, some kind of an energy that's unwanted, that actually you breathe through you, all the way out through your body and out through the soles of your feet and into the earth. And as you see it as a stream of energy going into the earth, imagine that you have like a giant sword or a giant pair of scissors, and you just snip that energy, and you feel the weight of that energy, its own weight, just taking it deep down into the center of the earth, and the earth transmutes it into light immediately, and it disappears. And this can be this is just one way. There are many ways. I did hear from someone else that does a podcast, and she called it like a way of hacking old energy. And she said that as you see the stream of energy leaving you, you can imagine it has an anchor at the bottom of it, which weights it down even and takes it down quickly. That works quite effectively too, you know, and you still snip the energy with whatever, a sword or a scissors. You know, like the human mind needs the imagery. And our subconscious needs to understand that too. So our subconscious understands the imagery and the feeling and all of that. So as human beings, we need to see the image of this happening, and with the image we have the feeling and the thought of that energy leaving. So that's one way of doing it. And something I also thought about in relation to letting things go, we can imagine that we are going on a big overseas trip. I mean, okay, this is a bit ironic at the moment, given that we can't, but imagine that we can, and remember the times where we could, or imagine in the future when we can travel again, safely travel again, and we're going on this big trip. Now, generally, when we're planning a big overseas trip, there are things that we need to do beforehand. You know, and one of the things that I need to do before I go is to work out what I'm going to take with me. And it depends where I'm going and what time of the year that I'm going. So as like, what kind of clothing do I need to take with me? Generally, I go to, if I'm going to Italy, it's generally in the summer months. If I'm going other places, it generally is tropical places. So that's what I love to do. So I make sure that I take the appropriate clothing with me. Now, I don't just grab stuff out of my wardrobe and put it in my suitcase. I actually try it on and see how does it look, because stuff I might not have worn for a long time. And if I feel good wearing that, I pack it. And there's stuff that I thought that I would love to wear, I try it on and it doesn't feel good. So I think, okay, no, not taking that. And in fact, I might ditch that if it doesn't feel good on me. If I don't feel good wearing that anymore, then it's done its time with me, and I just completely ditch that. So the point that I'm making is that if we can think about that and see, also, it's a way of not taking too much stuff with us. So if we're going on a holiday and we've got to carry stuff in our suitcases, if we take unnecessary stuff or too much stuff that we don't actually need, then it's going to be very hard for us to carry that around with us. Say if we're traveling through Europe, it's going to be really hard for us to take that with us. And then it's going to be also, we're not going to have enough space for stuff that we might purchase along the way to fit into our suitcase. So if we can use that analogy in the letting go process, that and the reason we need to let go of this stuff is because we're shifting into a new way of being, and the old stuff doesn't work for us. It holds us back. A lot of the old stuff was limitations, was limiting. So part of the newness that we're going into is the lack of limitation, the understanding of the human potential, just the resourcefulness that we have come up with in these times, business-wise and family-wise, relationship-wise, in all sorts of areas. And I was listening to something the other day that was talking about, I think it was Greg Braden I was listening to, and he was talking about the electrical energy in each one of our cells, and we've got trillions of cells in our body, and he was talking about the electrical current within those cells, and he said that if we can imagine a 12-volt battery that goes into a car, that to equate that, we would need, I don't know how many billions he said billions of those 12-volt batteries to equate the electrical charge of our human body, given the electrical charge in every cell. So that is a huge amount of power that we have. You know, we have the electrical and magnetic power of the mind, and 5,000 times more powerful than that, we have the electrical magnetic power of the heart. So where am I going with all of this? So it's in relation to understanding that we are moving into amazing new times. Okay, the transition is difficult, no denying it is very, very difficult. However, we can overcome because we have the power. We can get through because we have the power, and understanding that we have the power and knowing and feeling that we have the power is very, very impactful. So this letting go thing is about taking a look, what doesn't serve us, and then taking a look at that as it comes up into our awareness. What kind of behaviours do no longer work now? What kind of thinking no longer works now? What kind of feeling no longer works now? It has no place. Doesn't feel comfortable anymore. Ditch it. Let it go. So, because trying to take that stuff into the new, for one way, it actually, in one way of looking at it, won't really work very well at all, and it will burden us down. It will become heavy, like our luggage, with stuff that we don't need in it, with stuff that we don't even really like anymore. If we take that away with us on holiday, it's going to burden us down. And more importantly, it's going to take space within us, within our suitcase, within us. It's going to take up space where there's no space, it's not enough space for all the new that's coming in. So I hope that has made sense, and that has put a bit of a perspective on the letting go and why it's important to do that, why I believe it's important to do that, and a way of looking at letting go of what no longer serves us so that we can move into the new, unburdened, feeling limitless and amazing, and understanding the power that we have within our human body, within our beingness, within our soul, within our heart. And that if we focused on that, we could be even more amazing than we have been so far. All right, I hope that this has been helpful and that it has made sense for you. As always, let's love ourselves enough to do this. Ciao for now, and much love.